Very good job. Nicely done. Yay. Triple diff locks, huge amount of articulation, portal axles, and unreal shock absorbers now. This thing is going to be a lot of fun. Damn. One out, 7 to go. Hey everyone, you can probably ascertain trying to remove the springs, well, in particular the U-bolts that were holding the old rear springs down, which are proving a real mission. I've probably been in here for 2 hours this morning. I've got 3 out with the help of the rattle gun, lots of penetrating liquid, couple of hammers, and an induction heater. And I am slowly getting there. Apart from one, the threads have stripped completely. So I think I'm gonna have to weld a nut to it in the main workshop and then try and put the rattle gun on the welded nut and see if I can get it off. So I'm definitely making progress, but man, it is seriously slow going, but that's okay. This is the old set of springs. They look fine on the ground, but I think the tension is gone in them. They're not the same. So when the truck's sitting, and bear in mind this is it completely unloaded, so it's not going to get any lighter than this. They're relatively flat. The front is completely compressed, but the rear was definitely flatter than it should be. But they don't look actually so bad here. So I've got the new springs, cannot wait to put those on. I'll clean up the, I think it's called the boogie axle, the one that rocks back and forward. I'll clean those up, and obviously I've still got to do the other side as well. So what I'm going to do is probably pull the actual bearing off of the axle itself, and then that'll give me more access to be able to weld the nut onto the piece of the U-bolt. So there she is. So that's what I've been struggling with. Those U-bolts went all the way down in here and they're completely rusted. I'm really struggling with this one as well. So this holds the actual leaf in place, stops it from moving side to side or jumping out. This one came out relatively easy. This one is not budging at all. And when I'm trying to get it out with the rattle gun, it's actually just spinning this nut now. So yeah, I need to somehow, I'll probably try and get the induction heater on here to try and dislodge this a bit more, even though I kind of have already. This one's not budging. I think I'm going to have to weld this here, which I was telling you about before, and then try and use the rattle gun to shift it. Quite cool that there's a Zerk fitting here, and that pumps grease in from the bottom and greases the whole unit. I will put a ton of new grease through here. Because I heated it up so much, I may have changed the properties of the grease. So, and obviously it's old, so I will clean that all up, because this will need a lick of paint before that goes back on again. But the bearing itself seems really good, which I'm happy with. Even though I've been bashing it and stuff, it moves nice and freely. Got some movement going in reverse. This bearing isn't as good. Hopefully it just needs grease. Doesn't spin like the other one does. Interesting. Yeah, hopefully that's not a sign of a bearing that needs to be changed. Very happy with the result. I got all 8 pieces of the bolt out, plus the 2 bolts that kind of hold the spring in place, which were jammed as well. So I've been going back and forward from the main workshop to here a million times today, but it finally paid off. I've now cleaned them, degreased them, and painted them with rust converter. So soon I'm going to paint them with the anti-rust primer as well, and I might leave them that color, which will be the same color as the transfer case, just to make a little bit of a feature out of this thing, seeing as it almost defeated me. It's taken me like many hours to sort that. Angie's just on a Biltema run with Oaks to get me some more grease, because I'm going to remove all this old grease and put new stuff in. And then I've got the tedious job tomorrow of cleaning the chassis rails and kind of all around that area, which will take me some time. Then I can paint them with the Branthro 3-in-1, the black, and then it'll be time for me to put the new springs on. There's a rock stuck behind this ceiling cap. I'm doing some late afternoon archaeology on how old this rock is, Ange. Maybe it's a fossil. You know, maybe it's got an ammonite in it.
Oh.
Come out.
She's sitting a lot lower now. But not for long.
No. It's much less exciting than an ammonite. Happy Sunday, everyone. It's a bit of a rainy, grizzly kind of a day out there. So I'm in here cleaning up the chassis, and I have just removed one of 6 shock absorbers for the new ones to go in. I will be painting this with the black Brantho Corax. Now that it's all clean, I'll give it a bit of a wash down with alcohol first, and then I'll be ready to put the painted cradle in, the springs across, and then maybe the shocks after that. The whole truck is back on its jack stand, so the old girl's in her stilettos for hopefully the last time in a long time, because soon we'll be going to Gothenburg to pick up the new wheels and then put the new tyres on. So we're excited. So I'm going to carry on the cleaning, then do the painting, and then I'll show you when I install the new gear. I've learnt my lesson from last time. I've absolutely pumped so much grease into this bearing. It's not even funny. The shaft is absolutely covered in grease as well. So hopefully this just slides on. Oof. There we go. A little bit of excess. Oh, gross. Wow. Yeah, nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Okay, maybe I took some of your advice took it a little bit far. Maybe that was a bit too much grease. Okay, I'll remove some of that grease and then I'll start to tighten this up. Okay, that's all tight, but still feels pretty good. Those are what those washers look like. And like before, the way I tightened it was by using the punch, hitting it on the grooves, and that's tightened it up nicely. So the leaves sit here on this purchase, and I've noticed some of the 6x6 Volvos have another lip here to stop potentially the springs from sliding too much one way or the other. I'm hoping I don't have to weld something there, because I have seen some of the other Volvos, maybe they were the earlier 6x6s, don't have them as well. It's not just me. Now they do slide on their purchase. As the truck goes around corners, these axles shift back and forward. They are designed to, that's why they've got those softer bushings on the reaction arms. So because they slide back and forward, they make a bit of noise. They sort of grab and then tick, 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 tick. So at first when I was driving it around, yeah, the noise I was finding really peculiar, and I've asked other owners and they said, yeah, the noise is completely normal. And then I noticed one of the Volvo owners who often gives me some tips. I ask him for some advice sometimes because he's gone through a lot of the things that I've gone through. Sorry mate, I don't know how to pronounce your name at all. I'm no good with Dutch. Hildegroot. I'm sure I've butchered that. I really do apologize. I noticed you put grease or something or other on this pad here, so I'm going to copy and follow suit, and I've put some copper paste here, and hopefully that'll help that sliding process. It'll get really gross and grotty, but I can always just keep putting it in there when I need to, and I'll be using this copper paste on some of the threads and things like that on the springs. So that's why that copper paste is there on both leaf bases. I have no idea what you would call that. Okay, so now I'm ready to start putting in the first spring, which is exciting. I've been looking forward to this for ages. If you didn't see in some of the earlier videos, I purchased some also the second-hand 4-leaf springs because we want to be loading the weight up in this. So I figure a 4-leaf is going to give me better load carrying capability, and at worst case, if it is too tightly sprung and too stiff, I can always just unbolt and remove that 4th leaf and throw it away, and then I'm back to the 3-leaf like I originally started with. But these leaves look in better condition than the ones I've pulled out of here. This goes here, and we have begun. I don't know how I'm going to tighten these up without using some form of clamp. I don't know how this is going to go down. So what I might do is try using some clamps. New tactic, do it on the ground with the clamps. Much better idea. So kind of the strange thing about this is the bolt that goes through the middle, the bottom part is just round, so there's no way to actually tighten the bolt completely. That's why I figured that it would have to be on the cradle and have pressure on it before it could be tightened. But that's given me enough of a purchase of that nut before it starts to spin for me to actually put these together here. Much easier. So I'll swap these over, chuck this one on this side of the truck. Okay, so I've jimmied things around a bit. I've dropped this axle by utilizing the bottle jack. So this axle's drooped down, which enabled me to hopefully give me enough slack to be able to potentially clamp these to this to get on. The only other option, of course, is take this off, put them together and then try and get it on, but I'm worried that I won't actually be able to get enough height here and get these low enough without having to start really pulling things off. And then I'm getting into very much uncharted territory. So yeah, I don't know anyone who's actually done this changeover where they've actually separated the springs from the boogie axle or boggy axle assembly. Boogie axle, boggy axle, I don't know. So yeah, those are in quite nicely, but now I need obviously, yeah, I need some clamping force. So let's give that a go. I mean, these clamps might not be strong enough, so we'll see how we go. So close, at least on this one. Let's get the big nuts. I'm sure there are some of you screaming at the camera, there's a better way than this, but I don't know. So these are 200mm long U-bolts, so I needed extra long U-bolts in comparison to the stock ones, which are only 180mm, due to this extra floating leaf above. I would have preferred 220, but they weren't possible to get, but I'm hoping 200 will be long enough. And I got that from a bloke called, I'm so sorry, I'm probably going to butcher your name as well, Klaas Herbertser, or Herbertsburg, something along those lines. So cheers mate, these were good, really fast delivery and stuff, and good communication, so I'm happy with that. And I just know him from the forum, the Facebook forum. Okay, I'll be tweaking this and see if I can set these down into place. Okay, body's down. It's a few things that have to line up here. This bolt that was coming through pointing up this way, that had to fit into like a little groove, and it wasn't at first, so I was jacking different parts of the truck up to try and take some pressure off in certain areas, and then I ended up using the rubber mallet to start hitting it from this side so that it kind of shifted this way a little bit, and then it went in with the rattle gun. So The only thing I've missed out on doing that I would have liked to have done was put copper paste on the inside of these. Didn't really kind of get a chance to do that because I didn't know this was going to be the technique that would work. I'm not too phased by it. What I think I'll do is buy some sort of a spray and spray it down here just to make sure that it doesn't lock up and rust again like it did before. Even like some sort of lanolin spray or something like that. For now I'll just use like a multi-spray, and that will stop me ever having that trouble again. And then I can tighten this one as well, and we're away laughing with the first set of springs. They look quite cool, hey, how this is like a floating leaf. So it only really comes into play as it properly loads up. And we're on. Nicely buttoned up now. Painted any scratches that I made along the way. So that wasn't actually too hard at all. It was actually, yeah, once I got the hang of it, that was pretty darn easy. Thank you to the rattle gun again. So now I just need to tighten these up, which will clamp to the spring itself. So I'll do that, and then that's all finished. Moving on to the shocks. So these are the two from this side. So these are the originals. They don't feel too stiff. I mean, they're quite weak, but there's no rebound at all. So that's not ideal. All right, so we've been sitting on these for a while. I'm so happy to finally install them. So Dobinsons have jumped on board with us, which we are so happy about. We're really, really chuffed. These are, you could arguably say, the best Australian brand shock absorber. They also do springs. Let me show you a size comparison of the cylinder bore. There is no comparison. I think they might even be bigger than the ones we've got on Bowser, 10-ton Unimog, and that isn't even a remote reservoir. So the idea behind the remote reservoir is it can hold more gas. So therefore you have the ability for the shock absorber to dissipate heat better, because heat, the buildup of heat as it goes up and down, up and down, up and down over corrugations, and say a racing scenario, that heat builds up and then the shock doesn't perform as well. So that's not going to happen with us because, as you've noticed, this isn't a rally vehicle. Now these are a three-way monotube shock absorber, so we can adjust the low speed compression, the high speed compression, and the rebound. Now low speed and high speed doesn't mean the speed of the truck, that means the speed of the shock absorber pumping in and out. So that can all be adjusted. I know nothing about this because I've never owned adjustable shock absorbers. So I'll get clued up on it, and then I will start to implement that when we start driving and testing the vehicle. So I'm really excited about that part. For now, I'll just leave them the way they are and install them on the truck. They came with a really nice like aluminium bracket, so I can basically attach the reservoir here straight to the body itself. I don't actually have to be drilling into the Volvo anywhere at this stage anyway. I will leave the boots on the shaft for now, but I prefer the look of just the shaft itself without. Let me know if you've removed the boots off your shock absorbers with no ill effect at all. I would hate to have a bunch of sand and, I don't know, dust and stuff go in through the seal into the shock absorber and then have to rebuild them. Really don't want to be doing that. So for now, I'll keep the boot on. I'll zip tie them all up. We have on Bowser as well, we kept the boots on. But I kind of like the look of the shaft. It makes it look more like a rock crawler or something like that. So the installation should be pretty easy. It should be relatively plug and play. They've provided the bushings and the washers. So I'll have a crack on the first one and then show you what it looks like on there and film the second one. Oh, how good does that look? Awesome. Completely plug and play. That's probably one of the easiest, that might be the easiest thing I've done on the Volvo so far, which is nice for a change. I can play around with a few different ways to mount the reservoir. So the rebound adjustment is back here. Now if I had it on the front here where it originally was, I wouldn't be able to get to it without removing the wheel. So I've put that around the back so that I can adjust when necessary. They've provided the little key here, so that goes in the back, and that's how I change my rebound. So I am going to keep this kind of configuration. I've spun this around so that this is easier for me to get to, so I can just bring my hand in even when the big tire is here from the back here and adjust these, the low and the high speed. if I had the reservoir here, which looks cool, but the axle would smack it as the vehicle articulates. So that'll be the configuration for now. And I have opted for the bling over having the rubber boot. Unless you'll rip my head off about that, I'll change it back. But yeah, I'll keep that off for now, but I'll keep the boot so I can always put them on at a later date if I choose to. So this is it just at stock, so I haven't adjusted the rebound at all, but you can see if I push in, they push back with so much force. And so as you can see with these, how they go in and they just stay there, they don't end up coming back at all. They're completely stuffed. So really, really clever upgrade to do on this old Volvo. Now that is an improvement. Man, I can't wait to test this thing off-road. It's gonna be a weapon. 6x6, triple diff locks, huge amount of articulation, portal axles, and unreal shock absorbers now. This thing is gonna be a lot of fun. Damn. And a big thank you to Nick Santamaria for helping me with a few suggestions on these shock absorbers. He has put them on his 6x6 in Australia and he is doing a phenomenal camper build.
Alright, so I'd asked Chris this morning if I could help to remove the tire of the trucks because that's something I've never done before and I would like to be a bit more hands-on. Fortunately, Oakley has chickenpox, so I had to be there for him this morning. He was not very well. He's napping right now, so I can help Chris in the workshop. He's doing the install of the third shock, and I'm gonna help him. He's gonna explain as we go how to do it. I'm very new, I've never done that before, so please be kind in the comments. But yeah, I'm excited to give it a crack. So I'm gonna get instruction and we're gonna get going.
And as we both know, I'm a terrible teacher.
Oh.
So it will do me good to practice trying to talk you through something without grabbing it and taking it.
Definitely more patience than doing the mod builds, that's good.
That wouldn't be hard. Okay, remove shock absorber from the box. Cool beans. This is where things will get a little bit tricky. So you're going to want to stand the shock up, probably that end into the ground. Yep, that eye into the ground. So get over the top of the shock absorber. So you have to push down and at the same time remove this wire. It's a bit of sprung steel to hold the shock absorber in place. You just have to pull it out that way.
Oh, I see.
It'll be very easy as soon as you take pressure off the shock. Got this edge, come on, all your might. The rebound on them is really stiff. Nice, good job. Very good job. Yeah, Ange isn't joking, these are actually seriously stiff at this stage. Okay, and then you can remove the boot because we want to show the bling to everyone. Cool. Alright, okay, now we're in business. So if you lay the shock down, I think the best way we can do this is, I think I've got adjusters high. So what we can do is have it set kind of like that. So I want you to mirror what I've done on that shock on that side and put that in place first. It's going to stop that dangling around and getting in your way. And I'll take some weight off the shock if you, oh no, I won't yet actually. Cool, yeah, you give it a bit of a wiggle and a jiggle. and it'll go in eventually. Are you nearly there? Keep going, yep, back and forward, back and forward. Yeah, just watch the shaft smacking on the wheel. Oh, yep. That's probably the worst part. You're really going to have to manhandle it. It is quite stiff. Still not quite there. Okay, should I jump in?
Yes.
Yes. You can be the bolt. The bolter.
Here we go.
So bolt through. I'll get out of your way. That's it. Cool. Keep going. Awesome. This is on Titan. You're going to want that on that side. That's it. Make sure it's on properly. Yep, that's it. And then that on the other side. That's it. And then up and down. Just nice and slow.
Oh yeah, so I don't.
And then I'm going to try and just, this wash is a bit big for this application, but I just want it to, that's it. Try not to crush my finger, yep. That's it, nice. It's a nylon nylock nut on the other side, so it'll tighten, it'll feel tight, but it's not actually.
Oh.
Yeah, you're smashing it.
Harder.
Nice. Okay, I'll jump in there and just give it a couple
the
of...
last
yeah, just to
squeeze
see.
of root.
Just because I've got an idea of what torque to chuck it to. Yeah, that's good. Washer. And then we've got rubber there. And then I'll do rubber here. Yeah.
We might need Jess from Trouble Travelers to come and help us.
Weather's been changing in Sweden, so he's been getting them out lately. But I'm here to tell you, there's only one set of guns on this continent. Show him, Jeff, show him.
Yeah! What a weapon! I was like, man.
It's got big guns.
Yeah. Them huge biceps. Kind of intimidating, actually. I might step out the camera. Okay, now if you get the Allen key, and we're going to shift this around. And then down a little bit. At the end, I think that's a bit more like that. Nicely done!
Yay!
Wicked! You may as well do the next one as well.
We're getting used to it.
Yeah, no. Good job.
I might as well take over the build there.
That was the hardest part of the build so far. You could have crushed this whole thing. Good morning, guys. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Sun's out for a change, so we'll probably all go to the beach, I think, and I'll get out of here because I feel like a bit of a troglodyte item here lately. I've done all the main jobs I wanted to do. Yesterday afternoon, Bjorn did a massive solid for me and took all of the tyres off the 7 rims so that we can take them up to Gothenburg. We'll talk more about what we're doing probably in the next episode, I think. Now, I went to Build Timber and bought a couple of tyre levers, so kind of a similar length to the ones I use all the time on Bowser in Oz. Bought a couple of those and a valve removal tool. So I took one of them outside and just had a crack at kind of removing the wheel, but I'm sort of used to dealing with one of those split rims, and that sort of holds the rim into the tyre. Once the 2 pieces of the split rim have kind of been taken off of the wheel and tyre, then it's quite easy to get the wheel out. Whereas I'm not used to kind of a standard wheel, so I battled for it for like 20 minutes. I ended up breaking the bead quite easily, but I didn't know how to get the wheel, the lip of the wheel out of the tyre without having to maybe drive over the tyre to then pop it out. So I'm definitely going to need practice on that, but yeah, Bjorn saw me struggling and he took me over to the main workshop and just did them all on the machine in like 15-20 minutes, so that was awesome. So the tyres are off, we're going to sell those because, as you know, we've got some brand spanking amazing tyres in the back of the workshop. So I've also got a bit of a surprise for you guys. John from True Blue Travellers,
Brilliant little bit of kit for the workshop,
has been allowed to come over. The General's given him permission to be able to come over here to Sweden and put on a Tool Tuesday for you.
It's time for Tool Talk Tuesday.
So I'll introduce him now. All right, everyone. The General's let me out of my quarters. I'm John from True Blue Travellers. Today I'm going to put a special Tool Tuesday on for you in the outfit. Let me get my stuff. Oh, first bit of kit. Your trusty battery. Brilliant bit of kit for the workshop, this one. You can clamp things with it. You can hold things down. Does everything you need. Found this in the old skip bin out the back. Beauty. Beauty. Next bit of kit. The trusty claw hammer. You can do a million different things with this one. You can bash things, you can hook things. Bit of everything really. You can even defend yourself from the General when she comes in there with those big guns. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next Tool Tuesday. Brilliant bit of kit for the workshop, that. Oh man, my accent needs work. If you haven't watched them already, I'm sure a lot of you already are. Check out True Blue Travellers on YouTube. They are doing up an awesome ex-military pin scale, or a 6x6 one. I think it's one of the diesels from the 90s, so that is going to be an awesome truck. And they are doing a superb job on it. John has so many more skills than I have, so sometimes when I watch, I cringe at what I've been doing in the back. So check them out, they're hilarious as well. Get fun?
Oh, cold on the toes.
Walking in the water. Touching the water, walking. Alright, just came back from the beach. We had a really nice family afternoon there. I even went for a swim for the first time since we've arrived in Sweden, and contrary to Chris, who had a very cold swim a few months ago, I actually had a pretty enjoyable swim today, so I was pretty stoked about that. Oakley did so well as on the water today, lots of standing and walking practice, so yeah, very happy with today. We had brought with us the Nakie picnic blanket, the Sentry towel. We absolutely love the Nakie products, so we brought them all the way from Australia to Sweden. Highly recommend you check out Nakie's website because they've got some really good gear, all made of recycled plastic bottles. We've got a discount code that I'll put on the screen for you, so definitely check it out. They've got as well the very popular hammock that we really like. Fortunately, there are not many trees around here, so I can't use it at the moment, but as soon as we start traveling, I can see myself there reading a book. If Oakley let me. And as you can see behind us, we are packing. We're getting ready to leave. We've got our new chauffeur.
We've got a naked man behind the wheel.
This is our new ride.
Yeah, just casually rocking in the McLaren, courtesy of Bjorn.
We sold the Volvo.
Bonk. Good boy.
And as you can see in the boot,
yeah, these are no longer our wheels. These are Tatanka's wheels, and we'll talk to you properly about that on the next episode. So just wrap them all up. Luckily, we've got a wagon, and they fit. So the road trip we're doing is to Gothenburg. We've never been there before, so we're very excited. We'll hopefully maybe even see a castle. We'll probably be up there for like 5 nights. So there won't be an episode upload next week, but there will be the week after, and that'll be an exciting transformation of the Volvo when we put the new wheels and the new tires on. That is going to be sweet. So stay tuned for that one. Cheers, guys. Bye. I need another coffee. And today I've got a special treat for you. I'm going to put on a Tool Tuesday over here in Sweden. That's starting to sound Irish. I mean, I can zip tie them quite easily to keep them on. Oh man. So this is what is wrong with these videos, right? I think as I talk, I don't I don't plan my talk, as you can obviously tell. So sometimes I will change my mind while talking to you. And look, it gets lonely in here. Half the time Ange is with Oak, so I'm pretty much talking to you guys as my friends. You are my shop assistants that I'm speaking to and changing my mind as I go.